Greeting to our viewer. It is an honor for me, Phương Thảo, to always accompany you and bring you the news bulletin on 24-hour channel. The news provide updates on the hottest and most accurate information about the security, order, and social situation that has occurred during the day. The following will be the main news.
As the floods began to inundate southern China, in the Baihuang Basin of Jiangxi Province, 3 recently built hydrological stations reached their highest warning levels in history as they witnessed the breach of the embankment. Some villagers in Jiangxi recalled the terrifying moment when they fled from the imminent danger as the embankment broke, running frantically for about 5 kilometers, only to feel the ground shaking beneath their feet. Mainland sources report that at 9 p.m. 2 days ago, the water level of the Baihuang station on the Yangtze River reached its highest historical record of 22.91 meters in 1998, reaching 22.65 meters this time. By 8:10 this morning, the water level of Lake Baihuang had risen to 202.84 meters, surpassing the 1998 level by an additional 13 centimeters and still increasing. In the town near Lake Baihuang, a severe flood situation unfolded when the Fang River embankment, which was the first line of defense for the neighboring villages, collapsed under the pressure, despite withstanding the flood in 1998. 2 nights ago, on the embankment of the reservoir in Songtiere Town, Baihuang District, Jiangxi Province, Bok Fuang, a local resident, fought against the flood for many days, standing on the front line of the embankment and providing protection until the flood completely breached it, a total of about 45 hours. Bok Fuang recalled that the rainfall had been increasing, causing the water level of the river to rise dramatically. Suddenly, strong winds blew, shaking the ground, and the water surged uncontrollably, creating an even larger breach in the dam. Bok Fuang shouted, "Find higher ground here. We can't hold on anymore. Protect everyone first." People familiar with the terrain were leading those around them to flee for their lives, covering a distance of 5 kilometers. When Fu Hongmin, the deputy mayor of Songkedown, heard the first statement, he admitted, "At that moment, I was really scared. My legs were trembling, and the ground was shaking. If we were even a step slower, we could have been swept away." More and more people wanted to run, but they couldn't move. That's what Bok Fuang said. After the first embankment fell within just 2 hours, the flood submerged over 20,000 hectares of farmland, flooding homes of the local residents. Passing through the Labu River embankment, initially a protective barrier of the irrigation reservoir, it had now become the last line of defense to prevent the flood from reaching the 5 villages below the reservoir or the town of Songkan. Bok Fuang was also one of the coordinators responsible for 4 reservoirs located downstream, which were lower than the water level of Lake Baihuang and were supplied by it. The current flood water level was at least 5 meters higher than the reservoir water level. According to his estimation, the depth of the flood was in the lower part of the reservoir's surface, and he described the flood water as significantly higher than the 2-story roofs. According to observations by the Hydrological Bureau and the Water Conservancy Commission of the Dan River, under the Ministry of Water Resources of China, the peak flood of the Yangtze River overflowed into the Gan River at 6 p.m. yesterday and reached the mouth of Lake Baihuang at 8 p.m. on the same day. At 11 p.m. on the same day, another flood surge overflowed into the upper reaches of the Tamheap Dam, a hydrological station of the Water Conservancy Commission of the Yangtze River. The forecast predicted that the peak flood of the Yangtze River would overflow the observation station early yesterday morning. To alert the outskirts of Dongling City in Anhui Province, the water level could rise to approximately 16.3 meters, and many provinces would be submerged. Xi Jinping was concerned about the failure of the poverty alleviation goal after a long period of stagnation. Starting from today, the Chinese President Xi Jinping has made a speech connecting flood control with disaster relief to eradicate hunger and reduce poverty for the first time. He acknowledged that the current flood situation in China is very severe and must prevent a return to poverty caused by natural disasters. Since the news was broadcasted by the Communist Party of China's media, Xi Jinping has provided important instructions for flood control and disaster relief work, he said. Recently, the basins of the Yangtze River, White River, Dongning Lake, Baduong Lake, Taihao Lake, and others have all been on high alert for flooding. When areas such as Trincan, Jiangxi, Conway, Hubei, and Zhejiang have also suffered severe flooding, causing casualties and immense property damage, flood control has become extremely urgent. The focus now is on Xi Jinping's speech, in which he emphasized the need to assist and rescue the affected people who are facing difficulties due to natural disasters to prevent a return to poverty. As the floods continue to ravage southern China, particularly in the Beihang Basin of Jiangxi Province, 3 recently established hydrological stations have reached their highest alert levels in history as they witnessed the breach of the embankment. Some villagers in Jiangxi recalled the harrowing moment when they fled from the impending danger as the embankment collapsed, running frantically for about 5 kilometers, feeling the ground tremble beneath their feet. According to mainland sources, at 9 p.m. 2 days ago, the water level of the Beihang station on the Yangtze River surpassed its historical record of 22.91 meters in 1998, reaching 22.65 meters. As of 8 a.m. this morning, the water level of Lake Beihang had risen to 202.84 meters, surpassing the 1998 level by an additional 13 centimeters and still increasing. The town near Lake Beihang has fallen into a state of severe flooding, as the Fang River embankment, the first line of defense for the nearby villages, had previously withstood the flood in 1998. 2 nights ago, on the embankment of the water reservoir in Songtiare Town, Beihang District, Jiangxi Province, a local resident named Bok Fuang had been battling the flood for several days. He bravely stood on the embankment's front line, protecting it until the flood eventually breached it completely, approximately 45 hours later. Bok Fuang recalls that the rainfall causing the flooding has been increasing, and the water level of the river is reaching a critical intensity. Suddenly, strong winds blew, even turning into a violent gale, causing the water to overflow uncontrollably, resulting in an even larger breach in the dam. In response, Bok Fuang shouted, "Find higher ground here," no longer able to hold on. Protect everyone first. People familiar with the terrain guided those around them to run for their lives, covering a continuous 5 kilometers. Upon hearing the first statement, Fu Hongmin, the deputy mayor of Songke Town, felt an overwhelming fear, his legs trembling and the ground shaking. He realized that if they were just one step slower, they could all have been swept away. At that moment, more people wanted to run, but they found it difficult to move, as Bok Fuang mentioned. Until now, his feet are still in pain. After the first embankment fell within a span of only 2 hours, the flood inundated over 20,000 hectares of agricultural land, flooding the homes of the local residents. After passing through the Labu River embankment, which initially served as a protective barrier for the irrigation reservoir, it has now become the last line of defense to prevent the floodwaters from reaching the 5 villages below the reservoir or even the town of Songkan. Bok Fuang is also one of the coordinators for 4 reservoirs situated downstream, with water levels lower than the main reservoir and supplied by it. The current flood water level is at least 5 meters higher than the reservoir water level. When evaluating the depth of the flood, it is in the lower part of the reservoir's surface, and as Bok Fuang puts it, the flood water level is significantly higher than the roofs of 2-story houses. According to observations by the Hydrological Bureau and the Water Conservancy Commission of the Dan River under the Ministry of Water Resources of China, the peak flood waters of the Yangtze River overflowed into the Gan River at 6 p.m. yesterday and reached the mouth of Lake Beihang at 8 p.m. on the same day. At 11 p.m. on the same day, another flood surge overflowed into the upper reaches of the Tamheap Dam, a hydrological station of the Water Conservancy Commission of the Yangtze River. The forecast predicted that the peak flood waters of the Yangtze River would overflow the observation station early yesterday morning. To alert the outskirts of Dongling City in Anhui Province, the water level could rise to approximately 16.3 meters, and many provinces would be submerged. President Xi Jinping has expressed concern about the failure of poverty alleviation goals after a period of stagnation. Starting from today, for the first time, Chinese President Xi Jinping has delivered a speech linking flood control with disaster relief to eradicate hunger and reduce poverty. He acknowledged the seriousness of the current flood situation in China and emphasized the need to prevent a return to poverty caused by natural disasters. Since the Communist Party of China's media outlets reported the news, President Xi Jinping has provided significant instructions regarding flood control and disaster relief efforts, as stated by President Xi. Recently, the basins of the Yangtze River, Huai River, Dongning Lake, Baduong Lake, Taihao Lake, and others have all been on high alert for floods. as areas such as Trincan, Jiangxi, Anhui, Hubei, and Zhejiang have also experienced severe flooding, resulting in casualties and extensive property damage. Flood control has become an urgent priority. The focus now lies on President Xi's speech, where he emphasizes the need to provide assistance and relief to the affected people facing hardships due to natural disasters, in order to prevent a return to poverty. The three flow data into the water level have shown inconsistency, indicating that at least one of them is inaccurate or all three are inaccurate. According to the photos released by Xinhua News Agency, the discharge from the Tamheap Dam has been increased from 4 gates to 8 gates. If the discharge continues to increase, it may cause chaos in downstream areas. Heavy rain in the Yangtze River region continues unabated, and the water levels in the mainstream and tributaries of the Yangtze River, Dongning Lake, and Baihuang Lake have exceeded the warning levels. Over the past few days, there have been continuous releases of floodwaters from reservoirs, along with dam breaches and levee failures. Jiangxi and Hubei have even taken the initiative to breach their own embankments. Flooding is spreading everywhere, and people are living in a state of anxiety, unsure of how long the Tamheap Dam can withstand the situation. Many people are trying to find a way out, fleeing with their loved ones and possessions, as if they are carrying the death penalty over their heads. Recently, the Chinese Communist Party government acknowledged the formation of an exceptionally severe flood on the upper reaches of the Yangtze River in 2023 during a recent storm, with a predicted maximum flow into the Tamheap Reservoir exceeding 60,000 cubic meters per second. The international community is concerned that the Tamheap Dam may not be able to withstand any more pressure. Since the beginning of January, the water volume of the Yangtze River in China has continuously endured relentless heavy rainfall. The first flood has already formed and is still ongoing, subjecting the middle, lower, and upper reaches of the Dan River to continuous flooding. The official media outlets of the Chinese Communist Party reported that the new flood had caused landslides in the upper reaches of the Yangtze River, which were affected by heavy rain. Areas in the upper reaches of the Yangtze River, such as the Mang River, the Jialing River, the Wangjiabao Dam, and Thongdan, have all experienced significant increases in water levels. The Hydrological Bureau under the Water Conservancy Commission of the Yangtze River in China has officially announced that the first flood of 2023 has formed on the upper reaches of the Dan River. The estimated flow rate of the Tamheap Dam is over 65,000 cubic meters per second, a terrifying number. How long can the Tamheap Dam survive? In reality, the safety level of the dam has been a controversial issue for a long time. The official media outlets of the Chinese Communist Party have also acknowledged that the Tamheap Dam has shown signs of seepage and deformation but have not disclosed detailed data. Subsequently, a video simulating the collapse of Tamheap Dam was uploaded to social media. According to the video's introduction, if the Tamheap Dam were to collapse, a flood as high as nearly 100 meters would be released at a speed exceeding 100 kilometers per hour. Within 30 minutes after the dam breach, the flood would destroy the Cacao Dam and reach the city of Engisan at a speed of 70 kilometers per hour. The flood would devastate Engishuang as well, and within 5 hours, the water level in Engisan would rise to 10 meters. This video has caused a stir on social media. However, the Chinese authorities have not provided any response. After watching the video, an official from the flood control frontline in Anhui province believed that the video could have been made by a government entity, as ordinary individuals could not make such professional predictions. But why would government officials release and circulate this video on the internet? He stated that he was not sure of the reason. Therefore, the current flood control situation in China is extremely severe, and there is great concern about what would happen if another super flood were to occur in the upper reaches of the Tamheap Dam. This is truly a cause for worry in the international community.
Thank you and all of you for paying attention. Please like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notification to receive the fastest and most accurate update from the 24 Hours channel. Thank you and goodbye. See you in upcoming videos.